What is up, everyone? It's Punkshu here with BattleAxTheater. I made some videos recently with Def, and I may have made a mistake. So recently we just started covering Pantheon. We found this game recently, Def actually found this game recently as far as a few months ago, and he had heard about it in the past. There were some, there was the Kickstarter obviously and things like that, but we really started looking into this game about 3 months ago and started really pushing our content because of our excitement for the game about 2 months ago. So as many of you may know, I recently made a video that was a follow-up to the original downtime debate. The original downtime debate was basically, if you don't like downtime, get over it, Pantheon may not be for you. Now, we were attempting to make this video in a sense of a true debate fashion, where one of us would cover one side of the argument and be in one camp, and one of us would be in the other camp and maybe offer a few suggestions. So there may be some confusion around that. We did have a two-part video, and that is definitely the mistake that I made on my part. It was my decision to split that video up, and I know for the future that we're going to put those together so there's full context, so that way the discussion can remain in a single video, as well as the conversation can continue to move forward in that particular video. Now, this video is called Clear the Air. I wanted to clear the air about exactly what is going on with BattleAxTheater in relation to Pantheon. I'd first like to say thank you guys, everyone, for watching. Pantheon has been an awesome experience with us in terms of content creation. We've covered things like EverQuest, World of Warcraft. Def's got a bunch of different rants on different games. We've done Warframe, things like that. And Pantheon has been a blessing because you guys are a great community. It's a game that we're really stoked to be playing. So I hope everyone is having a great 2019 so far, and I want to thank you for joining us here today. And really, I hope that you understand that Pantheon is a game that BattleAxTheater is very much looking forward to playing, sort of in its current context, obviously with some polishing through the alpha and beta phases. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the things that we are really looking forward to in Pantheon. So first and foremost, one of the things that I'm most looking forward to is the lore. Now, recently I've been watching Kane's videos where he narrates the videos and adds a little bit of illustration to them that discuss the lore of the game and kind of tell the stories. And they are very well put together and really have inspired me. And some of the stories and the way the Pantheon lore has unfolded in terms of Terminus and the Pantheon and the rise of the different races, if you will, in Terminus. I found it very interesting, and some of the side stories there about the evolution of the lycanthropes, the werewolves, etc. I thought that was very interesting. Obviously, I'm not as in tune with it as many of you may be, but the stories that I have listened to and what little I have read through the resources that are available online, I have found very interesting, and I'm very much looking forward of being in that lore and utilizing the perception system to find and discover different parts of that lore. So that's one of the things that I'm most looking forward to.
For Lycus knew the ancient secrets of this world would not be so easily found, nor acquired without great cost. These mortals he would call the Lycandrel.
Now, another thing that we're looking forward to is the combat system. So as we discussed with the downtime debate, whether or not downtime in the sense of resting and meditating and getting back your resources is beneficial or not, with all that aside, the combat system actually does look quite engaging, not just in the sense of the normal combat mechanics you may be used to with the classic MMO, but the combat system does seem to be a bit more evolved than your classic, progression server or Project 99 or Nasomi. And one of the things that I like about it is the fact that it harkens back to yesteryear, where you had situational spells that you wouldn't necessarily have on your spell bar and limits the abilities that you have available to you. So even though you have a fairly expansive skill set, at that very moment in time, it's limited to a smaller skill set, so that way it's manageable and you can focus on your environment and get the muscle memory down and get the experiences down, so that way you can execute combat in a way that is meaningful and is something that you can progress in, because you don't have such a large palette, if you will, that you have to maintain. You can actually learn how to play your class a little bit better. And I'm actually looking forward to the downtime. Def and I have recently been playing Project 99 just for giggles, just for fun, if you will. And earlier this week, I picked up Final Fantasy Nasomi and started playing Final Fantasy 11 again. And boy, it was a shock. You know, it's been, I think I stopped playing Final Fantasy 11 back in, I want to say 2009, 2010, sometime around that time. And it really has been an eye-opener, bringing back some of that stuff. I mean, one of the things that I talk about a lot is playing a Galka summoner. And Galka, if you've ever played Final Fantasy, had very low mana, very high hit points. And there are ways to convert some of those hit points to mana. It still didn't bring you up to a Taru level of mana, but what it did do is it allowed you to have some flexibility. And then if you mix that with mana management, it reduced the amount of downtime, which is something that has been mentioned multiple times within both of the videos that we posted, that mana management is really not that difficult, and there's really not that much downtime when you actually have a group that synergizes and people know what they're doing and actually execute properly. And that was one of my favorite parts of the game. Realistically, I mained a Dark Knight Thief and eventually a Dark Knight Ninja. And really, Summoner, though, was the most fun for me, because I would get into groups and people would immediately want to leave because they got a Summoner White Mage Galka in their group. But then I would go in there, and one of the first things I would do is bust out Fenrir, because I worked my ass off to make sure that that class was where it needed to be, or that job was where it needed to be. And to be able to sit there for 4 hours and have minimal downtime because you're managing your mana, you're managing the execution of your spells and your abilities, and again, synergizing with the group, putting debuffs on the mob and buffs on the group that again reduce that downtime for the healer. It was just a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to those types of combat mechanics again, and I think Def would say the same. Lastly, just to keep the video in itself a little bit shorter, because there's so much more we want to talk about, I think the last thing I want to talk about is the community. Now, while there has been some toxicity when it comes to content creators, not just us, but there are many other content creators out there where you go into their comments and you see a lot of the levels of toxicity. And you know what, guys, I know it's the internet, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, I think we're not going to see that level of toxicity when it comes to actually getting in the Pantheon. There are a lot of people that love classic MMOs. I have had nothing but an amazing time playing Project 99 and Nasomi. There have been great people that are willing to welcome new players into the fold, as long as you're not a beggar and you know you're making an earnest attempt to try to learn more about what you've forgotten. People are there to kind of not necessarily hold your hand, but guide you. Sometimes they give you a little bit of starting gil or point you in the right direction for quests, so that way you can get gil started. And I think that is going to spill over into the Pantheon community. And I want to say something. I want to acknowledge the fact that that there is a desire for people to play these classic MMOs. Now, one of my thought processes and one of the suggestions that I made, or a lot of the suggestions that I had made, were due to the fact that I was worried that the game may not be sustainable. But after playing these two private servers where people have that desire, and hearing about the desire for classic or vanilla WoW, and listening to everyone's comments on the YouTube videos and Reddit, and seeing things through Twitter and Facebook groups, it's obvious that there's a desire for this sort of thing. And I'm really looking forward to playing with everybody, because I think most of the people that are playing or that do intend to play Pantheon are going to be somewhere in the same age bracket, or at least the same mental age bracket, where we're all going to be able to get along, because we all understand that life does what it does, and we have little tolerance for jackassery, if you will. But I also don't think as mature adults, we're going to have any issue bringing in younger people into the fold that have a desire to play these types of games with us, because we can live vicariously through them. We can remember what it was like to be exposed to these types of games when we first played them. So one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is a vibrant, helpful community that is constantly involved in each other's progression throughout their growth of their character and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I know Def really is too. This is something that we've just had some amazing experiences. I can't even describe all of them. There have just been so many between getting a teleport at random because somebody just showed up in an area, and then as you zone in, somebody randomly giving you a piece of gear that you need to get things started, and you weren't even expecting it, you weren't even asking, or somebody running up to you in Final Fantasy and just giving you gil, or again, a link shell, not expecting it, someone telling you an exact quest progression, or says, hey, hurry up and get to a certain level so we can unlock sub jobs. Or the most amazing experience that Def and I had recently is we were actually running around Crushbone here the other night, and we had about 45 minutes before we were going to call it quits, and somebody rounded up every single mob that was in the place, and we were like, oh man, that's screwed up. What a jackass. Like, now it kind of ruined. Now we got our stuff. We got to wait for everything to respawn. And then the bard, she goes on to proclaim in OOC in the area that, hey, I'm bringing the mobs to the huts if you guys want to kill them. And it was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, we'll never get to the huts. Well, I don't know Crushbone. Well, anyway, the entire mob of mobs ended up at us, and we started talking to her and started killing these mobs, and we got 2.5 levels in a nice power leveling fashion, which we did not expect. And while I really want to fully experience what EverQuest has to offer in P99, that was definitely welcome, because we had a certain goal and we had setbacks and we had things that were keeping us from meeting those goals. And we were able to get 2.5 levels from 2 poles of the entire zone and make a new friend in the process. It was pretty amazing to have that and meet people like that and go away and finish that night on such a high. It was just so amazing. So again, I thank every one of you guys for watching this. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to playing with you guys in groups and questing and things like that inside of Pantheon on Terminus. I really can't wait for that. If you haven't pledged, pledge. If you haven't subbed to our channel, sub to our channel. I think you're going to find that some of the information may not necessarily be too specifically what you want to hear, but at BattleAxTheater, we aim to have an unbiased approach to it. Obviously, we're a bit biased because we want to play the game, but if there's any shortcomings or things like that that we feel is an opportunity to fix and it's content worthy, we're going to discuss it and open up that discussion. So whether the feedback that you have is in line with what we're saying or it's counter to what we're saying, we like to have that conversation. So be sure to sub. Check out our next couple of videos when they come out. We're going to deviate a little bit away from Pantheon so that we both us and you guys don't get bored on it. But we hope you enjoy what you're seeing so far, and we hope that you'll join us for the future of 2019 because we are so excited. Until next time, you guys have a good one.